Sorry for the internet issues. We are back, like we promised, officially presented to you by the Birdsall Lawfirm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk Located, 19 Poydras Street. By superdome, give a call 504-523-5413 if you're someone you know has been involved in an accident. The Birdsall Lawfirm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk. Make sure you smash that like button. Let's do it.
First took away. Yes, with this. Get your money's worth out.
All right, got 5 and Lido Ross joining us soon. Wow, can't talk soon. And then we got Coach Mike Cyprien joining us tonight. We got Brett Usher joining us tonight. We're going to talk first, though, about Zion Williamson, Lido. I asked this before. So one of the main topics that I've been seeing on social media is why does Zion Williamson not get foul calls, right? And I've seen a lot of just different angles of why he's not getting foul calls. Maybe it's, Willie Green not protecting him. Maybe it's Zion Williamson not, going through contact. Maybe it's him not picking up technical fouls. What are you seeing with Zion Williamson? Why he's not picking up certain fouls that other players are getting?
He's suffering from the same symptoms that Shaquille O'Neal suffered with, being bigger and stronger than everybody. Those fouls are not viewed as fouls. They're viewed as ticky-tack fouls, and by all accounts, you should call a foul by the letter of the law that it is. If in a rule book what is happening to Zion looks like a foul, call a foul. He shouldn't have to foul bait because the ref should call it fair and impartial at all times. However, desperate times call for desperate measures, and if you see something that's not working, you may have to change your approach and take an alternate route. And I know Zion said that he doesn't want to do that. He wants to play the game the right way. And I totally understand that. He has 3 options. He can foul bait. He can play the game. One of the things that he could do, honestly, is add more of a euro to his game. Like, instead of just the hard charging drives where it's finesse. Because a lot of times when he is laying the ball up, he's being very it's very finesse, and he takes certain angles and he gets away from the contact at certain times. And I'm not talking about those fouls because, it's hard to call that foul. 5 being a referee, it's hard to call that foul when you're going away from the contact, right?
This is it for me. This is the stuff. This is against Chicago, Lido.
Yeah,
this is the stuff right here.
Like that. All right. So we talking about that. This is what you do. You come down. You get the ball back after they don't call that foul. You come down and you know what you do? You run through a motherfucker face. You make them call an offensive foul on you. You make whoever that was guarding him right there, you make him never want to stand in front of you again. You literally just run the fuck through him.
5, I'm really interested in your point because obviously you've been a referee. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the way Zion's officiated, right? The way you see, why is he not being rewarded calls for? And you look at around the league, you look at guys like when John Morant was playing, he's a great foul baiter. Jalen Brunson, another guy, these sweep throughs, James Harden, those type of players. Why can't Zion get these calls?
Zion has to pay the price. That's why. Until Zion pays the price, and I like to think about it like this. It's almost like until he does something that other teams or the referees in general will deem as like, all right, he's not messing around, because Zion hasn't played enough for referees. Like, for referees, it's like you got to be consistent, right? Like, they not just gonna give a guy the keys until he earns it. So you got to go through almost the trivial shit until he gets to the point of like, hey,
could you give us an example? What is the trivial shit in your opinion? Like, does he have to play a certain amount of games? Does he have to get to the playoffs? Does he have to get technical fouls? Like, what is that?
It's the game within the game. It's the hey, you're not getting these calls. One, you're bigger and stronger than everybody. And then for referees, like, I wouldn't, watching, let's say, high school boys basketball, like, I wouldn't call that game just like I would call a middle school girls game. I wouldn't, because guys should be able to absorb a little contact and not get bumped off their route, right? But Zion's so strong, like, he never gets bumped off his route until it's to the point where the foul's already happened. Zion's trying to go finish, and they give the defense more of a benefit of the doubt than Zion. So it's almost like redundant. Like wait, you're going against what you almost believe. They give it to Shea, like bro, Shea. You look at, oh my God, like these guys are Luka. It's so finesse, or it's almost they're not even like playing basketball at that point. They're playing the foul game, or they're trying to get a cheap one. So until Zion gets that point, but Toledo's point, my last part about this, until he does something that changes their minds, it's going to continue to happen. You know, Willie Green not going to say nothing. Cool. All right. Until Zion wants things to change, he knows what to do. He knows exactly what he should do, and take the fine that comes with it.
Five, you said something that instantly just pissed me off. It's because he's so strong. So you're telling me, and I'm not, this is not directed towards you, but just the thought process of rep, because he's so strong, you're going to penalize him for being stronger than the opponent, the defender. And that's what I can't get with. Like, that's because he's stronger than, you know, the defender, he can't get a foul call. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Because his balance is better than everybody else. It's the LeBron had this early on in his career too. Like, this isn't new. This isn't like a new thought. Like, LeBron used to get hacked all the time, but he was 6'8", 250, ran like a freight train, could get to the rim, play through contact, and they didn't give him fouls. It wasn't until, let's say, like year 4, year 5 for LeBron. Again, he played a lot of games until they started giving him calls. And also, I'm not being misogynistic saying that I wouldn't, you know, grade a girls' basketball game the same way I would do a high school boys. That's just the lay of the land, my man. Like, come on, now, get your panties up the bunch. I didn't even see that. I don't even know what comment you're talking about, but go ahead. Ross joined the show. Ross, we're talking about Zion Williamson. Talked with Lito and 5 about why he's not getting foul calls, right? And so, you know, Lito talked about, you know, playing through the contact and you know, if he gets fouled, like, for instance, if he's getting fouled like this, right? Well, next possession, like, fuck that, I'm going through your chest. 5, it talked about, you know, paying his dues, so on and so forth. What are you seeing?
I don't know. Excuse me. I still think it's a combo of sort of all of that. You know, I still think he makes himself too easy to be fouled because he's not creating, you know, he's creating a lot of the contact. There's not enough space. But, yeah, there's a lot more to it than just that. Like, some of these fouls are egregious. Like, they shouldn't be getting missed. And so I think that's where I go back to, like, yeah, he does have to pay his dues. And, like, this is kind of a cop-out, but, like, the other thing I've been kind of thinking about is, like, officials haven't gotten to see that much of him yet, right? Like, if he was in his 4th or 5th year in the league, and he had played 60 games a year and officials were sort of used to this, and he had made a couple All-Star and all that kind of stuff had built up, I don't think we'd be here. But the fact of the matter is, in a lot of ways, this is like his first season. It just is. Like, he just hasn't. And so I think there's like a rapport with the officials, and then him getting better at I don't want to say flopping, but at least like acknowledging the foul as it's happening. That'll help him out.
Yeah. That's a good point. Make sure you smash that like button. I saw whoever brought that comment up. What's that? Yeah, Everett. Go ahead, Fob.
No, I think Everett's right. Like, we saw this in his real rookie season. Like, we saw him get hurt because they weren't calling calls. Stan Van Gundy had to come on the press conference and say, like, this is what happens when you don't protect the guy. When Stan Van Gundy is the guy that's
the shout out to Everett. That's the point I'm making. Like, a foul is a foul. Like, if by the letter of the law in the rule book, it's a foul, call a foul. Like, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be circumstantial. Like, go ahead.
You make a good point, and I think this goes back to like what I'm getting at is. So are you insinuating that they're seeing fouls and not calling them?
Yeah, I am.
That's what. So you think they're like the officials?
You're telling me they ain't seeing that? They're not seeing that. I mean, it's a fucking elbow to his face.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that they're. I think a little piece of it is definitely that notion of like, well, I mean, what are we gonna do? Call a foul on every play? there is definitely some of that where
Sure.
I think it's in the back of the official's mind. But I do think a lot of that is that he is like the aggressor creating so much of that it makes it easier for them not to call it. Like, and I'm not giving the referees an out. I just think this is like an area of possible improvement for Zion, where I think he can do a better job of taking shots from just a slightly different distance or angle to either give the officials a better view or to give himself like the opportunity to take a shot at some point in the game without getting the shit hacked out of him. Like, the key's going to have to make that decision at some point.
Ross, to that point, Zion does things that if I were a ref, I'm not bailing you out for. And this is my point. He'll drive right and he'll shoot it with his left hand.
Left, right.
You went back into the defense. Why the fuck would I bail you out with a call? Like, that's just what I would say. Like, that's what I would like. Like, no, you created that. You didn't have to do that. You could have just used your right hand because you had the defense beat. But yet you went back into the defense and they caught up with you. Like, that's really not their fault, right?
I 100% agree with you on that. And the other one is like, even when he's going left, it's so predictable now that the defender is meeting him at the spot. And so it's never like the awkward, like what a lot of the fouls you see are awkward, right? Like you think of guys that get a lot of, like Shea Gilgeous, when he gets fouled, you see it because it's awkward movements, right? Like it's Luka gets fouled a lot, right? But it's these awkward, slow Euro steps. And he's creating some of that contact, but then he's also pulling away so that you can, that it becomes more obvious. Zion is at a point now where it's like he's just meeting the defender at the same spot over and over and over. And so, yeah, it's like it does. I think the referees have a difficult job, like officiating him. I really think they do. I think Zion's going to have to change a little bit. And yes, the officials are going to have to help him out some, but I think he's going to have to make some alterations to what he's doing if he wants to start shooting 10 free throws.
But look, and we've been told this, like they've been sending film multiple times. What's this from Dylan? Nah, do your job and call the foul. James Harden, DeMar legit throw the ball in front of them, chase the front. Yeah, I mean,
play the game.
But they
play the game.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, like they've been sending in film almost daily now to the league officials, and they won't go. What do you got, Five?
Well, that's not working.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not.
It's not working. So you got to change something, right? You got to do something different, right? I agree. I agree.
These are old men you're talking about. You're not changing their minds about how they're going to do things. It doesn't matter what Adam Silver's going to say. It's not. They're like, oh, I missed it. Okay.
Yeah. Let's get to the next part. So Vince, real quick, so on the show of officiating instead of breaking down the game on Friday. So obviously we go live on Friday. We could not go live on Friday. We all had something going on. But to talk about the game 72 hours later, I don't think really makes sense. They beat the shit out of the Pacers. Brandon went insane. So did Trey Murphy. So that was kind of the recap, but always appreciate your comments.
That was a great recap. God damn.
Thank you. Five, I'm going to start with you, bro, because we're going to talk about Herb Jones, as always, because we always talk about Herb Jones. And after this segment, we got Brett Usher coming on. Brett, thanks for being patient with us. He's about to come on here in the next 10 minutes. This was an interesting clip from practice today, Five.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, I told B, I think him, Z, CJ, even JV, like, at the beginning of the game, they should come out ultra aggressive, just to set the tone. And I'll try to do my part defensively to set the tone. Wherever that wherever that gets the team going, I think we'll be successful in most cases. We're coming out that aggressive each game.
Herb Jones, you said it's like week 2, he was the leader of the team. When you got this dude, he's setting career highs in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, points per game, free throw percentage, and he don't even care about offense. He's like, yo, B, Z, CJ, y'all got to get going. I'll hold it down defensively. Y'all got to get going offensively. I saw someone tweet me today. I'm sorry, I don't know who it is. I don't have my records. He said, give that man the C right now. Put it on his jersey. Give him the C for captain. That's a fucking leader right there.
Yo, they tried to trip up Herb multiple times in this interview to ask him about first team all defense. Like, would he be upset if he didn't get it? And he was like, yeah, I don't care. Like multiple times. Like, yeah, I don't care. That doesn't matter. Are we trying to get wins? Like we were number 6 defensively last year. Okay, cool. Like we trying to win games. And his idea is, yeah, we need to get Brandon, Ingram, Zion, and CJ because those are the stars on the team. That's what leaders do. They put the other people before themselves. They embody and empower the other people that might be better at them at something, right? They're gifted offensively. And he's telling them and empowering them to be gifted in the areas that they are supposed to be. That's what a leader is. Who Herb Jones helps everybody. He helps every fucking body.
Wait, actually, at 5 hour lead, I'm gonna let you go here a second. Does anybody know about this question? Do they actually put C's? I know it's a thing in baseball. I don't know. Well, obviously in football too. Have y'all ever seen a C on a jersey for basketball?
Nah, because I think they stopped when they started putting the
not since like the 80s.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing C's on, but it'd be cool.
Go ahead, Lito. I think it would be cool too, Follw. Go ahead, Lito.
Yeah, they should though. They should, and the Pels should make a special consideration for Herb. Just if the league don't do it, like they should just do it for him. I really feel like that man was talking like a leader. He was talking like a man in control of his team. He was talking like it was his team. Like y'all, because you already know the thing with Herb, you go get consistency, right? Like it's not gonna be what is Herb Jones gonna do today. He's gonna slot cut. He gonna play defense. You saw what he did to Halliburton the other day. Like he gonna put people. Shout out to Vince. There you go. That's my 5-second recap. He gonna put people in hell. And the thing about it is, like Follw's been calling him the leader. You can call him the leader, the most important person on the team. Herb is a. I like to add one more word to that. Herb is a conduit. Herb is a conduit defensively for this team. He gives people confidence where they can overplay certain things because he's in free safety mode all of the time. He's going to cover up any mistakes that you make. You know what I'm saying? Though, shout out to Everett for this question. The question about the 7-footers. Bro, if Herb was 6'10", Herb might be the baddest motherfucker of all time. Because I really don't know. Like you talk about an interior presence and a presence on the perimeter. Like he would be incredible. But man, Herb is underpaid, and his accomplishments. Thankfully now he's just getting his due with.
I remember that, Dylan.
Shout out to Dylan. He's just not getting his due from the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely hope. I know he don't care about the personal accolades, but I hope he get them.
Yeah, because he deserves it. Caleb, I love this question, and actually, we're gonna answer this for fan question segment later in the show. So I got this started. We definitely want to talk about this stuff. So Ross, real quick about Herb Jones. I mean, obviously setting career highs. But he's all about the team. Just what you're looking for in a leader. But Five has been saying this all year. Do you think he's the leader of this team?
Yes and no. I mean, I think yes in the sense of in the locker room, the way he plays and all that stuff. But I mean, for me, if you're really talking about who we need to lead the team, if we want to win something, it's probably got to be Zion. But I think unquestionably in terms of like who's setting the tone, who's sort of doing things the right way all the time, like if you were going to have I guess what I'm saying is if we were going to have a captain, it would be Herb. But I don't know that that's necessarily the same thing as who I think needs to be the leader of the team.
That's fair.
But
that's totally fair.
100%, he's the captain of the team. I don't think there's any even argument against that.
That's totally fair. We're gonna talk about Herb here after, but Brett's been freaking waiting for us for like an hour now. So probably one of my favorite follows on Twitter, Brett Usher at wow. Now I had it queued up, Brett, and now I'm. Yeah, so right here at Usher NBA. Make sure to follow him on Twitter. Brett, thanks for joining the show. How are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing great. Appreciate y'all having me on. Been looking forward to this, and let's go.
We've been trying to do this for a couple months now, so thanks for taking the time. So right off the bat, I saw some of your tweets on Friday night, but something that kind of stuck out to me. You said Trey Murphy's the X factor of this team. Why do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, and I definitely stole that ultimate X factor from AD. I'm pretty sure that's how he phrases it. I've heard him say that a few times, but I think it's accurate. And it's just because there's only so many guys in the whole league that can do what Trey does at his size, the way that he can space the floor, not just from the 3-point line, but from, 4 or 5 feet beyond, like it's nothing. And I think, again, like what AD was kind of saying is like when he's playing and shooting with confidence, he is the ultimate X factor. And I think that's got a lot to do with the guys he's playing with, namely Zion. When you have a guy like Zion and his gravity, what he can draw, and then having a dude like Trey on the perimeter is just huge. I just think he takes this team to another level, but the confidence has to be there, and we've seen that, I think, fluctuate a little bit this season for understandable reasons coming off the injury and everything, but it's sure been there, the last few games. And yeah, I think if they want to get to where they want to get to, he's got to be that guy.
Sure. When y'all want to go?
Yeah, man. Brett, appreciate you pulling up, man. Been following you for a little minute. You a Celtics fan, or you just got a Celtics hat on? Like,
I'm originally from there, so they are kind of like my home team. I'm definitely I'm a fan of many teams, but yeah, we're just representing the Celtics tonight. No coincidence or anything like that there. Yeah, I heard they played today. I don't know what happened, but I heard they did all right. I don't know.
All right, for sure. No, I want to get your perspective about this team. One in particular, when you talk about Zion, how can a player of one his magnitude, his skill set, how can we see that improve? Right, like you watch a lot of NBA basketball, you see guys around the league, you see cats getting 70 points, and you kind of compare it to Zion, like, wait, shouldn't he be able to do some of the things that's kind of going around the league right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've thought about this before, just in terms of the scoring numbers, because I don't know what Z's career high is right now, but I just think based on the nature of his game, like he's probably not a guy that's gonna get 60. You know what I mean? Like he gets you probably 30 anytime he wants. But I just think between like the lack of 3-pointers, which is maybe something we could look at if we want him to, become better and expand his game. I was actually looking at that today. Like it's very, very low volume, of course, as y'all know, but like he is like a 35% career 3-point shooter. Like if you look at it, it's like when he takes them, I know they're wide open and everything, but he does make them. So I'd like to see him eventually like get up to like 1 3-pointer a game. But, I'm not sure that's like the solution to like maximizing his ceiling. But I think with Zion, a lot of it is like just kind of figuring out who he's ultimately going to be as a player in this league, because I feel like he's kind of worn a few different hats with the Pelicans. And a lot of that is just all the different players he's played with, the different lineups, like all the injuries that they've had and the guys they brought in, the guys that went out, all that. So I think it's got a lot to do with the team context, but I really think like he's still in the process and all the time he's missed, like I think he's still in the process of kind of figuring out just who he is as a player, like just what his optimal version is. And I think we're starting to see it. I think we can all agree like the point Zion is a beautiful thing. I think the playmaking leap that he's taken this season is certainly a step in that direction of becoming the best player he can be, because I think he's a very good passer. He's a very willing passer, and he creates a lot of space for teammates with his gravity. So I think the playmaking is something we're going to see continue to grow. And then like there's just some other things like, maybe get a little more of a right hand, maybe work on that short jumper some more, like where you can just kind of pull up from even like 8-10 feet instead of like always trying to get all the way to the rim. Like I think that's a great shot for him. Maybe a little turnaround from in there, just like kind of some counters, because, he doesn't get the whistle necessarily that I think a lot of us think he should get. He's obviously a tough guy to officiate, but I just think he needs to develop some counters and just continue to progress with the playmaking and mesh with these guys, because he hasn't played that many games with these main guys on the Pels, if you think about it.
True.
Appreciate it. Brett, thank you for joining, man. Appreciate you being here. I got a 2-part question for you. So Willie Green said that Brandon and Zion were the best duo in the NBA. I'd like to know, where do you see them ranked in the NBA, and what could they do on the court as a duo to get their rank higher?
That's a good question. Like, just off the top of my head, like, I gotta say, like, top 7, 8, like, for sure. I mean, there's like a few obvious ones I think that come to mind ahead of them, but like, I don't know. I would just say like top 8 without really giving that specific question too much thought. And like, I think their ceiling is maybe even a little higher than that. And like, there's another thing that AD talks about all the time on the broadcast. And I think y'all have definitely tweeted about this too, but like, putting those two together in like a screening action, and like it seems so obvious. And I actually, earlier today, I was just looking at some numbers, and like it just doesn't happen nearly enough.
Wait, wait, Brett, while you're on that topic, how often does it happen? Do you like, are there actual numbers?
I was looking at just the percentage, because NBA.com has like the pick and roll handler numbers, and like for BI, it's pretty high. You know what I mean? Like, I forget what it was. But like relative to the rest of the league, it's pretty high. CJ, it's pretty high, about the same as BI. Zion does it a fair share. But then you look at the roll man numbers, and like it's nothing. Like for Zion, it's like, I forget what it was, but it's like it's like very rare. So like neither of them are really screening for the other one, and so that just seems like the most obvious thing, because we saw against Indiana, the second Indiana game on Friday night that they won, like when they were going to that, and it's like, yeah, this looks unstoppable. Like, it's such a pick your poison situation for the defense when you get that. So like, I think that's the most obvious route to like maximize those two together. And I don't know why we don't see more of it, because it's like, what do you really do with that? If you're the defense.
Hold on, Ross, before you go to that point, like, we put them at 7 and 8, and they don't even run pick and roll with each other. Like, that's like, are they necessarily a duo at that time? Because they don't play within each other. Pause. That's crazy. Yeah,
they don't. That's the thing, though, and like, I just think maybe I'll say top 10, because a couple more just popped into my head. But like, top 10 is my floor for them. I am very high on them, even if they're not kind of like maximizing the potential synergy there. But like, and I think Pelicans fans know what this team can be. And I've always felt like Pels fans have like really high standards for this team. Like, sometimes I'll tweet, like I'll tweet something out, like they've had like a nice like 7-game stretch or something, and I'll tweet it out. I'll tweet out the numbers, and like Pelicans fans will be like, "Yeah, we'll see." Like, and they'll nitpick a little bit, and I'm like, most other fan bases don't do that. They're just like, "Yeah, we're the shit," And with the Pels fans got these high standards, and I really think it's because they know what this team can be, because this team's got a really high ceiling. Zion and BI have a really high ceiling, and I just think I just think it's so important to like still be patient, because got to think about how little Zion, BI, and CJ have really shared the court since they've all been on the Pelicans. So it's tough, but I do see that from Pels fans. They're like, "Nah, we can be better," and I get that for good reason.
It's probably us.
Brett, it's like you've been here for 40-something games. Like, it's like you've been on it. Like, we've been calling for, each of us have been calling for multiple actions just to be involved in the same action, and I don't understand why that's so difficult to make happen. My bad, Ross.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Brett, sorry, Ross. I forgot what's cutting off. Brett, just real quick, I was just going to say a simple either high PNR at the top of the key with Brandon going downhill and Zion the short roll, or just a simple pin down with Zion and Brandon on the left-hand side, right? Brandon coming off, curling, and then a 2-man game. Jared, were you going to say something there, Follw?
Nah. I think they need to run Spain pick and roll. That's the
with CJ. CJ's the shooter, Zion back screening, and CJ's popping with Zion. With Trey Murphy spacing. Go ahead, Ross. You know what? We could just go ahead, Ross.
That's the 3-man game we've been talking about, though. But we'll get back to that. But look, Brett, you kind of teed it up. I think where I wanted to go a second ago, which is like, you hear this talk about the ceiling being really high and this, that, and the other, and then the results don't always like mimic where folks think this team can go. Looking in the really short term, right? Because Brandon's deal's up the end of next year. Like, there's a Trey Murphy extension, all these things we've been talking about. Like, what do you think the ceiling is for this team this year? I don't know, what are we sitting in the 6th spot right now? Somebody correct me if I'm
No,
wrong.
we 5, bro. We 5.
All right.
5.
What do you think the ceiling is for this team this season?
Yeah, I mean, like just in terms of, first of all, like playoff seeding, like I think the 5 is probably the ceiling. I think the name of the game right now for them is to stay in that 5 or 6, you know what I mean, above the play-in, because the play-in this year is pretty dangerous. Like you're probably gonna have Luka in there. Certainly if you know what I mean, like Luka could be in there, the Warriors, the Lakers, whatever, like kind of teams you might not want to see. Like you could probably beat, but I think you want to stay above that. And I don't really see them getting above 5, like just kind of looking at the standings. Like it's possible, but I would say unlikely. That top 4 feels pretty set. And then beyond that, though, like I think they can win a playoff series. 2 would surprise me a little bit. Finals would be a big surprise. Like I wouldn't rule either of those things out, but like I think they can win a playoff series, like for real. And because if you look at the teams they might be matched up with, like these are teams that they can beat. Like Minnesota's a really, really good team. But if they were to end up facing Minnesota in the first round, like I think they could beat Minnesota. Like Zion plays really well against them. I think they've split the season series. I'd have to look at that, but I feel like it's kind of split. And then the Clippers will be another one where like they've had a lot of success against the Clippers, obviously, like the last couple of years. I think they've won 11 of their last 13 against the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers are still a very scary team, but like
Westbrook going down is pretty big for them.
Yeah.
Bench unit.
No,
Yeah.
and I think coming into the year, right, most of us said like winning a first round series would, at least for me, mark a successful like progression for the team from where we've been to hopefully where they're going someday. So hopefully you're right.
Yeah, I think exactly. Like, yeah, if we were talking about this before the season and it's like, yeah, they're going to get to the second round. It's like, that's a hugely successful season. But then like kind of the better they get, like if they finish really strong, like, you know, the expectations might get a little higher, but that's kind of what I see it as, where like, I won't be surprised if they win a series. Anything beyond that, I would be surprised. But like it's the NBA, like anything can happen. You can't rule anything out. But I do think that they're that good, because the West is a bloodbath, you know, as has been talked about ad nauseum. But I think they can hang. Like I almost look at the West as like tiers. Like you've got, for me, it's Denver, and then after that, it's one tier of like 5 teams probably. And I think the Pels are in that group for me, 5-6 teams, even like behind Denver. I just think that whole Minnesota, Clippers, Thunder are really good, but like I just kind of almost have them all in one tier behind Denver. And I think the Pels are in that mix. Yeah.
So Brett, we got a question from the comments here. Obviously kind of up, sorry. So kind of just goes on with what you were talking about. So who do you think is actually the best matchup for the Pels to advance in a first round series?
Well, okay, so like
one.
Yeah, so if we're talking about like realistic series, again, I don't think they're getting above the 5. So I think they'll be facing it's either going to be Denver, Minnesota, OKC, or the Clippers. I'm going to say Minnesota out of them, even though I think they've definitely got the best record against the Clippers of all those teams. I'm still going to go with Minnesota. It's just a little bit less experience. And again, like Zion is he's kind of like built to go against. It's almost counterintuitive because he's not the longest or tallest guy, but he's almost like built to go against guys like Gobert and Wemby, like these super long shot blockers. Like he can almost neutralize that, because the best way to attack one of those guys is to go into their body, not give them the space to actually contest and block the shot. And we've seen him do it against Gobert. We saw him do it against Wemby. So I like that. Like, I don't really think they have an answer for Z. Like, I think that could be a big Z series, and any series they win is going to have to be a big Z series. So I would go Minnesota in terms of like realistic potential first round opponents. And they're really good, don't get me wrong, but I don't hate the matchup for the Pels.
Off the Pels for a second, pause. Listen, we all watch NBA basketball. What is like the team? It may be like a lower tier team that you find yourself watching. For me, it's the damn Detroit Pistons. I don't know why. I just like watching them play basketball, although they lost like 27 games in a row. Like, what team is it for you that I got to watch this team? I don't know why.
That's a good question. it sounds crazy, but like recently it's kind of been Charlotte in terms of like a team that you wouldn't even expect, like just mainly just since the deadline. Like I kind of wanted to see how those OKC guys look there, what they look like without LaMelo, kind of some of their younger other guys getting some chances. They've been like low-key fun for me. So in terms of like an obscure team, like that's one. Like I watch a lot of Orlando, a lot of OKC, a lot of the Pels, a lot of Rockets. Like I really like the young teams. Yeah. Spurs, of course. I haven't missed a Spurs game yet this year, but I changed the channel when Victor subs out. But like Charlotte would probably be the one where I'm like, I think I'm the only person watching this game outside of Charlotte right now.
That's funny. Brett, yeah, thanks for your time, man. We'll get a couple questions, more comments. Go about 6 or 7 more minutes with Brett here, and then we'll try to get your comments here. So from Rachel, Brett, what is the best, in your opinion, what is the best Pels lineup?
Oh, that's a good question. Look, I know like you could look at the on-off or the lineups, the on-off numbers, all that stuff, and I know what it says for the starting 5, but that's tough though, because I want to have Trey out there though. Let me go. Man, that's tough. That's tough.
Who's your
I don't want. Yeah, I like. If Larry's healthy, like I don't know, I really like Larry out there with the versatility he provides, just like the IQ. Like, and I haven't looked, I don't know how much this lineup's played together, but like something like Zion, Herb, BI, Trigger, and Larry. Like that's a fun line. I'm sure they've played together, but I don't think it's been a ton of possessions. That'd be one I'd like to see. And it's nothing against CJ. Like, and I like their starting 5. So I had nothing against that, even though the numbers maybe aren't great on the whole season. I think they've been better lately.
Go ahead, Lito.
Brett, you've been speaking highly of Trey the whole pod, right? And I see your tweets. I want to know, can you give me a player comparison for Trey, past or present, that you think he could become?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Let me see. Like, because first of all, there's not many guys that, if we're talking like fully healthy Trey at his size, which is I think 6'9" plus, like legit, with that kind of bounce and that kind of shooting range, like I don't know how many guys we've really seen like that. In terms of a player comp, man, that's tough. Like,
it's tough on the spot.
It's like, yeah, it's tough on the spot. He's a bigger someone. Like, think of like an athletic 2-guard with a strap, and then add like 4 inches to that. And that's kind of like what he is. Like he's unique. I think I've talked about that. I think I put it out on Twitter even. It was like, who else has had this much bounce with this much shooting range at this size in NBA history? And I don't think anybody could give me a good answer. I think there was maybe a couple decent ones, but it's just like, nah, he can be better than that. So I'm going to kind of go out on a limb and be like, I think he's kind of the first of his kind. Like honestly, at that size, being able to shoot and jump like that, the handle has improved. Like, I can't even think of a specific. I could give you a comp for a lot of guys right now off the top. It'd be no problem. But he's probably with the toughest one, and that's a credit to the type of player he is. And again, why he's, I think, so important for them. Why he's the X factor, because there's just not many guys like him ever, if any.
I've actually thought about this one a decent amount, and it's not a perfect one because they didn't shoot enough threes and that team played so slow. But Danny Granger is like, but I think Trey's ceiling is higher than Danny Granger's, but he's the only one that was like, I don't know, he was like 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah,
sort of did some of the same thing, but it's definitely not perfect, and he's not the same as Trey. But
yeah, Trey's like Danny a little more like kind of like self-creation. Like he's a little more of like a go-to guy, where like Trey's kind of this like the ultimate floor spacer. Like that guy just, like, he spots up from 30 feet. Like he's just standing out there at 30, 32 feet, just waiting to catch the ball. Like nobody else really does that. I mean, we're starting to see it more, but he's kind of on the forefront in terms of pushing the range just way back. You could move the 3-point line back 7-8 feet and he'd have no problem. It's crazy.
Brett, I got one more question for you. We'll let you go here. What are your just initial thoughts of Jordan Hawkins?
I love him. I love him. And I think just, obviously the playing time has been a little inconsistent. He wasn't playing in the beginning of the season, and then he got in the rotation when they were shorthanded. He killed, as we all saw. And then he kind of faded out again. And then I guess when Dyson went down, he kind of reemerged, and he's like, for the most part, been in the rotation the last, however many games. But I think he's already one of the best movement shooters in the NBA. Like, there are not many guys that can shoot it on the move like Hawk. And I think he's got a little bit more to his game than that. Like, I think we're already seeing it a little bit. Like, when he kind of had those opportunities, some creation stuff, some passing, he'll rebound it pretty well. He'll work on defense.
Brett watches games.
Yeah,
you said rebounding. That's
yeah, you see him go after it. He gets after it on defense too. Like, he's a competitor. I think he's a guy that's going to expand his game as his career goes on. Like, he's a guy that a lot of people probably thought was just a specialist, but I think he's way more than that. And I think people that don't watch games might look at his numbers or like the box scores every now and again and be like, oh, he's not really playing that much, so he must not be that good. But it's like, the Pelicans are a really deep team, especially when they're, mostly at full strength. They're one of the deepest teams in the NBA, and just, I think the fact that he's played as much as he has this season, even with some of the injuries and stuff, is kind of a testament to like how good he is and that he's more than just a shooter. But I think he's going to be really valuable for them going forward. And I wish he could play more, but like, I understand it. But there's going to come a day where you got Zion on the court with Trey and Hawk, and it's like, what do you do? Like, because we've definitely seen glimpses of it. Yeah, you know what I mean? You put Zion and Trey on one side and Hawk over there, and it's like that spacing with Zion's gravity, like it's going to be scary, and it's only a matter of time. I mean, I think next year he's a guy they're going to prioritize over probably some of the other youngish guys on their bench. Even I would say that shooting's so valuable when you got guys like Bi and Z.
Brett's preaching to the choir. We really can't thank you enough, man, for taking time. So once again, Brett Usher at Usher NBA. Make sure y'all give him a follow, man. He's like one of the best follows that we have, and he's a big Pelicans fan. So make sure you check him out. Coach Sip about to come on. So Brett, thanks for joining the show, man. Really appreciate you.
Really appreciate y'all for sure. That was a lot of fun. Love talking.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you, guys.
All right, brother. Take it easy. All right, let's hear from Chris Hot Sauce. Then Coach Sip going to join the show next.
I need to clear something up about New Orleans. While our culinary scene might be on fire, our food has never been about heat. It's always been about flavor. And this is how New Orleans does flavor. Are we clear? Crystal. How New Orleans does flavor.
Once again, shout out to Brett Usher for joining the show. Now, another one of my favorite followers here, Coach Sip. Make sure you follow him at Coach Sip _NOLA. Coach, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining.
I'm good, brother. Appreciate y'all having me. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. This is a really good one. So, Coach, I'm gonna start off right off the bat. So, crunch time woes is a big talking point in this group, and we personally think, as Brett said, involving your two best guys in the action is the best case scenario for this team. We know Willie Green likes to run that elbow set. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. On what they should be. What should their go-to formation set be in the last 5 minutes of the game?
First of all, I'm not a big fan of the elbow action, especially when we just park those guys at the elbow and say, hey, get open and enter into the elbow, because Z and BI don't do the best job of actually getting themselves open. They're too easily denied when we're trying to do it. And a lot of times, whether it's CJ, Jose, whoever's entering into the elbow, they take about maybe 7-8 seconds getting it to them, and we're playing against the shot clock a lot of times. And I think the biggest thing, no matter what's called or what the action is, running the sets with some urgency is the biggest issue that I see in crunch time. It's almost like these dudes are surprised that teams are tightening the screws on them a little bit and really ratcheting up the pressure. Like you got to know that a single-digit game with 5 minutes left. Every possession matters, so you need to run your stuff with a lot more urgency. I know we want to go Z and BI pick and roll, and I'm not against that. But I do think that maybe there needs to be some false action before we get into it, instead of just maybe BI walking the ball up the court, centering it, and then going and pick and roll, because that's just something that's probably easily switchable. Now, what I will say is they've done a good job of hunting mismatches over the last couple games, and then I think that needs to be an emphasis, especially with some of the aggression that I've seen BI play with. I know y'all saw me talking about it, but we can't. A lot of people say, well, no, we need to put them in better spots to succeed. But think about the second Dallas game where we had everybody healthy, and we was like, oh, we smacked Dallas without our main guys. Our main guys are back, so we ought to run away with this game. And then Tim Hardaway and Kyrie Irving just go bananas. I guarantee you that Jason Kidd wasn't drawing up a play for Tim Hardaway Jr. to make all those shots. Tim Hardaway just was like, I'm going to get these baskets, and there's nothing these dudes can do about it. And a couple baskets go in, and then that's all she wrote. And a lot of times down the stretch is just move with a little more urgency. BI was doing a good job of processing the floor in the second Indiana game at home. Knowing where he wanted to go early on in the secondary break. Again, getting his mismatch, and for the first time in a long time, I actually saw him drop a shoulder in the dude's chest when he was in the mid post. He wanted to get, if not to the stripe, get to the basket and create a bucket. And a lot of times that's just really what you need in the clutch. But I do agree with you guys that we need to see a lot of stuff involving Z and BI. We've seen some chase action. I like that because it gets BI on the move as opposed to just having him standing and being easily denied, because we know he's kind of like slight. He's easily pushed off his spot because he's not very big. But you get into some chase action with him and Zion, you give Zion an option of like keeping it, getting downhill, or BI getting it, and now you got him going downhill on the move. That's kind of hard to guard. So I'd like to see some of that on maybe mixing up the spots of what we do to pick and roll stuff for them too.
Hey, Coach, one thing I know that you've alluded to a few times, and I think you've talked about this some, is you like seeing Herb as the screener. And I know we've talked about Herb as the ball handler, and I know going back even previous years, you always talked about how I think Herb could be utilized as a screener. What do you see? Like, what do you like about Herb as the screener, and what actions off of that do you think can help open up things for Brandon and NZ?
It's with Herb as a screener, you get, if Herb doesn't make the offensive leap that he's made, Herb as a screener probably doesn't make a lot of sense. But because Herb is getting downhill, finishing with both hands, he's got the floater. He's a popular now because his three-point shooting has gotten better. Now you've added a little bit more variety to not only what you add more variety to what he can do, because now Herb can pop. Now he can drive a closeout, get to the paint, finish for himself, or kick out. He can play the short roll. We saw that, and that's what I think. That's what I think makes Herb a lot more valuable, because you can't hide him no more. You can't put your worst defender on him. Before he made this leap, Herb's best spot to operate from was corner threes and then corner cutting. Now he could cut above the break. He cut anywhere because Herb's just that. He's a low usage dude, and having been a low usage player in college, because I wasn't averaging more than 2 points, you have to find ways to get easy buckets for yourself. So you're screening and rolling, you're cutting naked cuts. And if you got a chance, you catch and shooting. Hopefully you're not going in. So Herb is naturally a good mover, but now he's confident driving it downhill. So now all of a sudden, I think it was Indy. Yeah, the first play when Zion got the dunk, the very first basket we scored in Indy, Herb was ball screen, and it was JV in the dunker spot on the right side, and Z cut out the corner. Herb was your screener. Now you got another decision maker on the floor as well, because JV, God bless him, he takes so long to process the next play that if he screens and they throw two on BI, then BI stretching the defense out trying to throw it long, because he knows that JV's not going to, JV's going to take a long time to process the next play. Now Herb's getting it and he's immediately attacking. And so That
You got
brings
basically
another
a point
element.
guard. Yeah, you have a point guard going downhill, playing 4-on-3. Is what
I hope you have your worst defender on, because you can't hide your worst defender
because
on
Brandon gets 2
Urban.
on the ball. Yeah, Brandon gets 2 on the ball, gets off it, and then that was the first set. Go ahead, Five.
No, Lido.
Or Lito, go ahead.
What's up, Mike? So first of all, I'm gonna ask you the most important question anybody gonna ask you. What part of the city you from?
Uptown. You already know it.
Happy belated birthday, man. Listen,
My man, appreciate it.
I know you don't have the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway because you're a basketball guy, you're a basketball lifer, right? You and I have talked about tendencies and habits before with players. So my question is, why isn't BI aggressive all the time? Like, why does he go through these laws where he doesn't seem to be there? You just talked about him putting his shoulder in somebody's chest, him being certain in certain things. Like, why don't you get that all the time from him?
Initially, I mean, I've seen the post All-Star numbers on Slim from the last couple of seasons. So, maybe he's pacing himself. He's trying to prevent injury. He doesn't want to play that physical, the whole season, given his injury history related. And there may be an element of that. I'd hate to say that. I don't want to believe that Slim ain't that tough. But a lot of times I think that he's just doing a lot of overthinking on the floor. And that can lead to some stagnation in the offense. I think a lot of times when you see him dribbling air out the ball, he's trying to get his LeBron James on him and move guys in spots, see where the second layer of the defense is, and where he can get to his spots, and who's going to be cutting where, and who's going to get the next pass from him. So I think a lot of times his lack of progression may just be because he's just doing a lot of overthinking instead of just going out and hooping. Because when he's at his most efficient, when he's at his most decisive, y'all know it's when he's getting it in transition and he's out of there, and he's already knowing before he gets to the timeline what he's going to do with the ball, whether he's going to score it or whether he's going to get off of it. So I think a lot of that is kind of just. I think a little bit of it is maybe 30% him just not wanting to kind of save himself for the stress run, and 70% is I think he's just kind of just over processing stuff, just thinking too much instead of just getting off the rock and trusting that somebody's gonna make a play. And when it comes to you, then you can be decisive when you get it again if you get it at the end of the shot clock.
Appreciate that. Like, I think that kind of goes into my next question is Zion does the exact same thing. Like, where he'll have lulls and he's not ultra aggressive. Like, is there going to be a time where we're going to see an aggressive Zion and an aggressive Brandon in the same game for or a stretch? So let's say 10 games where we see these guys like try to really maximize who they are. Because I don't know if there's a play Willie Green or offense Willie Green can call to allow these dudes to flourish.
Right. I agree, Five. And now that these dudes have played this amount of games consecutively together, because coming into the season, I think it's safe to say that all of us, the main goal is for them two dudes to stay healthy and show that, see what the team will look like relatively healthy. Mainly them two. I wonder if there's an element of I don't want to step on your toes. I don't want to step on your toes. And I think you guys have brought it up a lot over the past maybe year and a half about the hierarchy. That's not a question. I don't think that's a decision the staff is going to make or can make. That's a question that, it's like when Brown went play with Miami, and Brown wasn't as aggressive because he didn't want to step on D-Wade's toes. And the story is, well, D-Wade said, "Yo, man, it's your show." And then we basically saw the best version of Brown athletically that we've ever seen. I wonder if there's an element of that between them two where I don't want to go because I don't want to make him mad. I don't want to go because we talk about vibes on the team all the time in a happy locker room and all the buzzwords that they painted in the practice gym, and how much of that has spilled onto the floor where we don't want to upset the other guy. At the end of the day, somebody's got to take the bull by the horns and go from there. So Zio said like, "Oh, it was BI's game. I'll let him do his thing," but no, it's okay for you to just take the ball and just go run through people. And at some point, B.I. be like, all right, I'll get it on the next go round.
Right. Do you want to go 5?
Yeah. Just this other part. I didn't want to, pile on Brandon for a while, but this is my pet peeve for Brandon. I think he allows the defense, or he'll settle for middies when necessarily he doesn't have to, right? Like he'll have the defense beat or need to get to the rim. Like I'm pulling the midi. Like it's almost as he I think like a cartoon, like break glass in case of emergency. He does that quite too often. And I think in Indiana, he was able to get himself, like versus Indiana at home, he was able to get himself going. And then you saw the flurry of middies. And then you saw the three-pointer. Like, is that like a attitude thing, or is that just like, hey, I'm on tonight? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's, I talked about this with Lito and Chris, where these dudes are just creatures of habit, man. I mean, B.I., if you lock B.I. in the gym all summer or off season, I'll guarantee you those middies are to probably about 65 to 75% of the shots he's working on. Yeah. And I'm in agreement where even I have gotten frustrated with, knowing that when he gets the open look, I'm like, I kind of like not cringe, but I'm like, okay, is he going to take this one? Because I'm knowing he's open probably at the same time he knows he's open. We can all, I pass to Ross and CJ, 5-year man helps. Everybody knows, all right, 5's going to get this pass. Now, is 5 going to take the shot, or is he going to pump fake and go into the mid-range? And we kind of, some of us are like, please shoot the ball. Some of us are like, he's about to pump fake it and pass it up. But I don't know that it's a F you to the team thing. It's one of those where he's got paid a whole lot of money making those shots. And most times than not, it's not costing games by and large. So it's nothing that probably somebody from the Ivory Tower is saying, hey, man, you can't keep taking the shot because you cost us games, which in the grand scheme of things will interfere with his pockets. And them dudes won't change nothing until the money starts changing. And until that happens, you may see him take more of those shots that we don't necessarily like than the ones that, that'll actually benefit him in the long run.
Yeah. Mike Cyprien joined the show once again. Thanks, man. This has been really fun. So make sure you follow me at @CoachSip_Nola. So, Coach, I love this question from Rachel, and I'm really, because I've seen some of your tweets, and I think you've made some good points, and I think a lot of people have interesting thoughts on this. So, do you think Willie needs to be more vocal defending his players, both on and off the court?
I think it'll probably ring a little bit louder on the floor. Willie gets paid per year probably about the same amount as Jose Alvarado. And I don't think Willie gets paid, and I don't count pockets, but I don't think he gets paid more than $2 million a year. Maybe he's one of the lowest paid coaches in the league. I don't know that dude wants to keep racking up fines, calling out officials and cussing out. He don't cuss. And I've met him on a couple of occasions. He's, how he is in the press conferences. He's actually like kind of soft-spoken, calm like that in person. But I don't think that he takes those fines because he can't afford to. And he doesn't, just like how we complain about Herb getting a different whistle and, getting treated different because of, maybe who he plays for. I think Coach is the same way. Now, I do agree with the fan base where, don't ask questions. I do think that Willie needs to start firing into people a little bit more than he has, especially now because these games starting to matter. We're in a legit playoff race. We can't have no L2M reports come out the next day about a blown call, and all of a sudden we slip from 4 to 7 or right on the play. Like, these games matter too much. So yeah, he does. But who needs to really let everybody have it is the dude that's paying him, or the dude above him. That's Griff. Griff is the one that worked for Turner Sports. Griff knows everybody. Griff has the championship. Griff has the pedigree, if you will. That's got to start coming from that dude. And I watched the broadcast and he started talking about officials. No, actually, he was on with AD and Joe a couple games ago, and but national media not watching that, man. He needs to go on Turner Sports, like NBA TV or something like that, and do that. Like, if you're gonna do it, get your money's worth.
can I ask you this then? Why do you think that's? And look, I agree with you with Willie Green and everything like that, right? One of the lowest paid coaches. I'm sure he doesn't want to rack up fines. I completely agree with that. But there are also other ways that I think you can get on referees in the game and then also in post game. But to your David Griffin point, why would I feel like as a guy or a coach that's trying to get player calls, like, don't you think it's got to come from the head coach? And if you're paying him low amount of money, then if you need Willie Green to voice his opinion to referees and maybe get tossed or maybe just lose his mind in a presser, maybe don't you think David Griffin or Gail Benson could cover that fine? Do you think that's even an option?
I would think so too. No, I agree, and I would think that if it's worth it, I think if it's worth it, one of them would foot the bill. I'm kind of. I do think Coach is a little not. I think he's a little too calm for his own good, and he's trying to. I don't know if he's trying to maintain a good rep throughout the league, but every now and then you gotta come out. You gotta come outside your body and let people know, like, you can't just push us around, bully us, screw us over. I'm in full agreement. Where maybe it doesn't need to be a once every 5 game type thing, but Zion's in the press conference, like, he's in the press conference saying, like, I don't know what to do. Like, your young star doesn't know what to say. So, yeah, maybe you should say it on his behalf. I agree.
Go ahead, Leo.
You said something earlier, Mike. I've been on teams where I wasn't the best player on the team, and I had to figure out how to get mine in the flow of the game because the game plan that didn't necessarily revolve around me. So if I wasn't blocking shots, if I wasn't rebounding, if I didn't run the floor, I wouldn't see the ball. Hierarchy seems to be a problem on this team. It's kind of like you said it before, right? So, like, some guys have a green light when really they light shouldn't be so green. And it seems to be because Zion or BI seem to forget that there's Zion and BI. So my question is this. Do you blame them specifically for that, or is that game plan coaching?
Them. I blame them. You early on in the season, Coach Green called these dudes the best duo in the league. Now, whether he just was saying that to just kind of like big them up and make them feel good in the moment, whatever. But it was said. And Zion's max contract, BI is about to be a max contract. I know everybody's, kind of, over here about what he's probably about to get paid. At the end of the day, max contract dudes got to be max contract dudes, no matter what part of the game you're playing in, no matter what the situation. And it's CJ came down here to play with them dudes. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. He came out here. He said in his presser, have you seen BI? I mean, Zion. BI is a killer. I wanted to play with dudes like that, young guys who have potential, high ceiling. So I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but them dudes have to understand, like, yo, man, this is ours. You came to play with us, and he need to get a reminder, like, if I'm posting, give me the rock. Especially a vet that knows where the rock is supposed to go. There's no more time for, let's go ahead and send subliminals to Zion about his condition and extra work, and all this other stuff. Like, we need a playoff race, get the ball to the dudes who need the rock where they need the rock at. And again, that's got to come from alphas. That's got to come. We played Grambling University, and we got smacked by Grambling at Grambling. We shouldn't even lost them dudes. And I kind of saw it. This is my last season coaching at Southeastern. I kind of saw it festering, dude. I saw it. I sensed it in halftime. I sensed it walking in the locker room, and a scuffle broke out. And I just sat in the back, and I was like, it needed to happen. It's nothing that Coach Latner, who's at Southern Miss now, it's nothing that he could have said or anybody on the staff could have said. It's something that those dudes had to settle. Like, stop losing us games, or it's gonna get worse than this. And they were like, well, shit, when they get to the dorms, man, make sure they're not fighting. I'm like, I'm not doing a damn thing. Let them sort that out. Yeah. And we went from like 9th place in the league to finishing 3rd. And that was a part of the season where them dudes, and those are 2 seniors now, they settled that. And every now and then there's some stuff on the roster that a coaching staff needs to step away from and let them dudes handle that. Because they all professionals anyway.
Coach, can't thank enough for your time, man. You're always welcome on the show. Mike Cyprien, make sure you give him a follow at CoachCip_NOLA on Twitter. Coach, appreciate you taking the time and hope you have a great night.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you, Mike.
Appreciate it, Sip.
He's an awesome follow. Man, thanks to Brett and Coach Sip for joining the show. So, Five, this is what we're going to do. So, y'all have questions for us. Y'all want to stay on for like another 30 minutes? You want to go with that? I want to talk more about Herb. So, y'all go with it?
It's whatever.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Okay. If y'all have questions for us, we're going to answer it. Five, I want to play this because let me ask you this first, Five. Do you think Herb Jones is an all-NBA defender?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think he's a top 5 defender in the league?
1.
Okay. So do you think he gets a good defensive whistle?
Hell no.
All right, let me play this clip. If Herb Jones could play defense like that, if Herb Jones could play defense like Pat Bev,
This is the exact
why is
same.
Pat? Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this is the exact same thing. Like we're talking about Zion, it's reputation. I think Ross was kind of alluding to it. Like, bro, it's all about reputation. Pat ain't just start getting away with this shit. Like he been like. Remember, Pat injured Russell Westbrook. Like tore his knee up. Like on the side, what was that? Like Russell right before Russell won the
Playoffs, Rockets.
Like think
Rockets
about that.
Nah, he's still at OKC. OKC
Yeah,
Rockets.
Russell's at OKC. Like think about that. Like this isn't a new thing. Pat been doing this, but it takes years of developing that kind of stat. Like dog, the year Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, you think he played amazing defense, or he just got away with a lot of flopping?
He got it.
Look,
so,
hey, I think Pat Bev is a clown, but what's the thing he always tells you about himself? He got one thing he'll tell you. He said it. I think last year might have been the first year he didn't. Pat Bev doesn't miss the playoffs. That's what he always says. Doesn't miss the playoffs. No one cares what you're doing in game 34 in New Orleans at home against the Hornets.
on
Like
fucking
on
Wednesday.
On a Wednesday night. Nobody cares. Nobody sees it. You just saw like people like Coach just said it. Like no one's seeing that. We're a small market team that for the most part people don't care about unless someone makes a comment about our star player being fat. That is the only time people care. So like you want Herb to start getting a better whistle. You want Zion to get a better whistle. You want all this shit to happen. Go win a fucking playoff series. Like it's that simple. Like it is that simple.
Lito, before we get to your comment, make sure I'll smash that like button. We have over 170 people in here. Just smash the like button. It helps the channel out. Just all you gotta do is click the little thumbs up. That's it. Go ahead, Lito.
Hey, listen, a couple things about that series. No, Herb could not do that, but for a number of reasons, what Ross and Five have alluded to. The number one thing is like Pat Bev not gonna let you get away with giving him a bad whistle. Pat Bev is gonna advocate for himself. Herb, Zion, whoever. You see Zion going to press conferences and be like, nah, they ain't follow me. The fuck you mean? You supposed to go off right there and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like you supposed to air your grievances right there. Like Herb gonna have a conversation with the ref. He not gonna be overly aggressive with him. You know what I'm saying? Like for what it's worth, we have a team of nice people, good humans. Pat Bev will tell you he ain't that. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing I like about that play, if you run it back one more time, I want somebody to do what Ayo did on Pat Bev. Bro, sit him down. He had. Go ahead.
No, just my think about it. Look who's dribbling the basketball. Look at who's dribbling the basketball off the floor. A person that is a foul merchant. Matter of fact, he shot more free throws. DeMar DeRozan shot more free throws than the Pelicans did when they played the Bulls by himself.
Yep.
So like they didn't even call the foul like that. Like that's two guys with a certain reputation in the league, and the refs like, okay, well, can't call the foul on either one of them. Like that's just what it is.
And Patrick Beverley doesn't always get like the best whistle. He just doesn't change how he plays based on that whistle, right? Like Patrick Beverley per 36 minutes for his career averages over 4 fouls a game. Like Herb over that same time averages like 3.5. Pat Beverley is not changing a damn thing based off what the official is doing. If he picks up 6, well, fuck it. You got me on 6 tonight. I'm gonna come out tomorrow and I'm gonna foul this motherfucker the same.
And guess what? He's gonna foul you 6 times. Like, it's gonna be some fouls. So he's gonna foul you 6
He's
times.
not changing it, and so in some ways, it turns into the same thing we're saying about Zion, right? Like, if nothing changes and that official gets used to seeing this guy play this way all the time, what's he gonna do? Like, what? Like, then they start to say the opposite, right? Like we're saying, like what they say about Zion, but we can't call a foul on every play. Yeah, Patrick Beverley's fouling this dude, but we can't call a foul every play. It's just about consistency and playing that way and continuing to do it. I think it's Herb. Like Herb has to just keep doing it. Like he's got to do it on a bigger stage, but he's just got to keep playing, and things will flip.
Zion cannot go. I know we're talking about her, but Zion cannot go sit in a post-game conference and say, well, the refs didn't call it, so I guess they didn't foul me. Like you can't do that. You're losing all credibility. Like it's not time to pout and act like a kid. Well, you ain't let me have it, so I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to actually go out there and advocate for yourself. And I agree with Mike when I asked Mike the question about who was it? Is it coaching or is it the players? Because as much as we give Willie grief, like at the end of the day, like we giving y'all max money. You got to do max money. You got to be the max money guys. Like you got to go in there and set the tone. Like truthfully, Willie shouldn't have to say a whole lot. It should be the leadership from your best guys. If that shit trickles down into everybody else, it should not be Herb Jones setting the fucking tone.
Man, I'll be honest with you. Do you think referees want to call fouls? Hell no. They just rather run up and down and
get some cardio in.
Like, cardio in. They do not want to make calls. But once things are like,
who cares? I'm sorry. No, I was just referring to that. No, like he was being sarcastic. That's no problem. It's not time to be sarcastic.
Yeah, no, it's not. Just in the simple fact of like they call the obvious shit, right? Or they want to. I know they didn't call that one, Justin. I get it. I know they didn't call the foul when Zion got hit in the face. But if Zion's not being like moved, they're not going. It's like there's no whistle, and also then there's no reprimand on the other end of it, right? If Zion's not going to say anything in the post game, it's like, all right, well, he's not going to say anything, so I don't give a fuck. Like, all right, damn, that's
crazy. Wow,
I just miss clicking sometimes.
That's crazy.
Has Zion ever been ejected?
I think
ejected. Once. No, he fouled out. No, he fouled out.
Out.
Well, I mean,
all right, here we go. Lito, just for you.
Yeah.
Shout out Everett. I thought it was an interesting question. A legit question: what makes Rudy Gobert and all the 7+ foot guys a better defender than Herb Jones? Are we shortchanging ourselves by only pushing first team all defense when he should be defensive player of the year? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a good question, but you got to look at, I know we don't like to talk about plus minus and we don't like to talk about VORP and all those other things, but if you look at what Rudy Gobert takes away from a defense, it's hard to say he didn't deserve those defensive players of the year. When you look at what Draymond Green does on the defensive end, and you see what he takes away on the defensive end, it's hard to say he didn't deserve those things. I'm not saying Herb doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying when you look at those teams' success, right? The Jazz have gone far into the playoffs. They've gone Western Conference Finals. They've gone semifinals, right? They just haven't been to the finals. When you look at what Draymond Green has done, he's a multi-time world champion. That defense is making an impact, right? So I'm not saying Herb shouldn't. Herb has the defensive acumen and he has the ability to get those accolades. But the thing is this. He's not going to get those records if Brandon and Zion don't get it for him. It's not that he's not good enough. It's that your two best players didn't take him far enough. It's not enough national media eyes on him for that.
And do you think that's been a reason why he's been snubbed from all NBA defensive teams?
Absolutely. He's not. Marcus Smart is not a better defender than Herb Jones. Matter of fact, when Marcus Smart won that award, the Time Lord was the best defensive player on that team. Marcus Smart is not like, if you're telling me Triple J, like Triple J is an awesome defender. Like he guards on the perimeter, does multiple things. That team went far into the playoffs. That's the reason why Herb Jones hasn't won these awards.
Yeah, I said that at the beginning of the season. Like it's on Brandon and Zion, the reason why he hasn't won. But to be honest with you, to your point, Lito, I'm looking at the list of voters. You think Stephen A. Smith is watching Pelicans basketball and understanding Herb Jones is a really good defender? You think let's see, Kevin Heelan, I think he's NBC Sports. Like, you think these guys are actually watching Pelicans basketball to determine if Herb Jones is a really good defender? No, they're just going to watch the marquee games. And you know, when the Pelicans play a marquee game, you know who usually isn't playing? The fucking Stars. So it's going to look worse than it should. Like, Herb isn't going to get a chance to shine because the guys weren't playing the last couple of years. Now it could be a little bit better. But Frank Isola isn't watching Pelicans basketball. They're going to look at the numbers and be like, I'm just saying, they're going to look at the analytics.
Why should they be able to vote then? Why should they be able to vote then?
That's another question for another day. I'm just saying, they're just going to look at the numbers and be like, who has the best defensive rating in the league? Oh, they're like, oh, well, Rudy Gobert, he won it last year. Let's just give it to him. That's what they do, man.
I think I'm maybe less critical against like the voters and everything. Like if you were voting last year and you were whoever the hell Five just said the dude's name was, like, are you watching the Pelicans? I can't watch 18 games a night. Like, and if I'm making my choices based off of like just me being a fan or a reporter and watching a bunch of games, like, how many Pelicans games are you watching last year? Like, this is part of it. Like, so I mean, I can't, like, yes, part of these awards is being on teams that are marketable and like being on teams that are winning games and getting on national TV games and getting into the playoffs. Like, I don't that's a strike against our team, right? Like, part of being so good that you make one of those teams is generally that you're so valuable that you're helping your team get to that spot, right? Like Draymond Green is making all defensive teams for those years because he was so valuable that he was helping them get to where they got to, right? Like, Giannis is a superstar. He's making all defensive teams because he's helping, you know what I'm saying? This is part of, like, if you're a role player, which Herb is still probably a role player at this point. I think he's like maybe working himself like something out of that moniker. But if you're a role player, you better be like unbelievable, like the unquestioned best role player in the league, right? Like, when Rudy Gobert was winning those defensive player of the years in Utah was going to the playoffs as like a 2 seed every year, right? Like, yeah, they weren't winning a playoff series, but they were consistently racking up a shitload of regular season wins. So I don't know. Look, we talked about this earlier. I think it's really, really tough for a guard. Five, who were the two names for the past 30 years? Marcus Smart and Gary Payton. Yeah, Gary Payton 30 years ago. It's fucking hard to win that award as a guard because you run into guys like Devin Booker who puts 60 on you on a night where it don't matter whether it was Herb Jones, Gary Payton, or whoever guarding him, right? Ja Morant got him a couple times for 30+ in losses. Like, it's hard to do it as a guard, especially when you don't have the backstop that Five talked about, and we don't have that, right? That's making up for some of those, you know, you get beat on a play, we don't have the backstop that's helping him get there.
Yeah. Real quick, lead up.
So I just want to add some context to this. We talk about Herb Jones and we talk about how great he is, and he is great defensively. He's one of the best defenders I've ever seen. But just think about this: Drew Holiday missed defensive teams for a number of time in New Orleans, right? And he had AD backing him. He had AD guarding the paint, and he was giving people hell on the defense, right? And that team made it to the second round of a playoff
against the Warriors,
right? So if he couldn't make it, and they had team success, and this team technically has not had, they have minimal team success. I mean, we could just call it how it is. Herb has no leg to make it because, again, like Five has said, like Ross has been saying, the national media has to tune in to be able to see those games. You got to play enough games. You got to get deep enough in the playoffs. And the other thing, honestly, look, if we just go call it a spade it is. When the Pelicans play in front of the host, they freeze up.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Follw. I think Wemby might be the first player ever to win an award and not be on a winning team.
He deserves it.
Like, he might win. I mean, he's going to win Rookie of the Year, and his team is going to be so sub 500, right? Like maybe 10 games under 500, like probably even more. That's the crazy part. He might be the first person ever to do that. So to all of our points, like, you have to win just to be noticeable.
Yep.
He gonna win Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's
let me
crazy.
before we get off this, before we talk, because I just want to ask y'all this one question. Because I thought at the time Drew Holiday was the best perimeter defender I had ever seen at that specific time period. Do you think Herb Jones today is a better perimeter defender than Drew Holiday was during those couple years? Or is it just like a pointless conversation too close to call?
It's different. It's different because Drew was I'm gonna tell you this. Drew was a better on ball defender.
Yes.
Herb is more of a safety.
Herb is elite.
Yeah. But I'm saying Herb is covering the field.
Like, he's the whole defense. Like, I want everyone to be like, everyone's like, you have sub defenders. Like, he's the entire defense. Like, Drew Holiday was not the entire defense. He had Anthony Davis behind him. Like, Drew could play aggressive and get beat sometimes. But AD was there to protect the rim. Who does fucking Herb have to protect the rim? No, Herb does some crazy shit.
Yeah. Herb got himself. He got to
more than Drew Holiday. More than Drew Holiday. He's got to guard him and then defend the other four.
I think it's a really tough question to answer. I do think Herb is I don't know. I think he has the frame to be the better defender, right? Like 6'7", long wingspan. Drew was 6'4". Herb can guard a little bit more. But my issue is Drew was on a team with AD and they were never top 10. Never top 10 defensively. Never. Herb has been on this team and been top 10 defensively, and he's by himself. He's been
top 6.
He's by himself. That's
6 again.
That's a great with non-defenders on his team. With none in the starting unit. He's essentially
and Dyson's out. Well, call spade a spade. Herb's the only defender on the court or on the team.
Man, hey, bro. All right, well, that's what I'm saying. He's carried this team to be top 6 defensively back-to-back years.
Exactly. And Drew never did.
Yeah.
Not even close. Yeah. All right. So this is what we're going to do, guys. I have a couple of fan questions starred. Ask any questions you want the panel to answer. I will star them. We got to hear from DraftKings Sportsbook. Before we do that, smash the like button. That's all we're asking. The NBA season is in full swing, and when I can't get enough of the action on the court, I spice things up by betting on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BOOT. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/promos for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Fantastic. DraftKings Sportsbook, also presented by Company Bear, located 4600 Front Street. Man, we appreciate everyone that's watching right now. Over 165 in the room on a Sunday night. It's awesome. All right, so let's go, Ross. Chavez Williams, what do you think about Willie's job as a coach for us so far? What do you like and what do you not like?
I don't even know what to give him credit for. I would say the only thing I like is that the majority of the season, our best players have been healthy. If he deserves any credit for that, I actually have no clue. I'm not that Yeah, I don't think he's done a great job. I don't know, maybe like a D or something, just because we have one D plus because we're currently sitting in the 5 seed. But I don't think Willie has done anything that like pretty much any other coach in the NBA couldn't have done with this group. I think we're pretty unimaginative. You've now heard multiple people that don't cover the team, aren't affiliated in any way, just kind of watch the Pelicans in passing, just on this show have come on and asked the same questions that we've asked, why our best players aren't in more action together, why, some people don't play, why, it just, I don't think any of the questions that we had coming into the season have really been answered about Willie Green. So yeah, I give him just kind of a strong D plus.
All right, fair enough. Let's see. I know this is to me, but Leah, I'm gonna give you this this question. Do you think the Pelicans would do a rebrand in the near future like the Clippers are going to do?
No.
Do you think they should?
I think they should. I think.
Do you like the black and neon?
I think if you look at how, I'm gonna say this, regardless of how I feel about it, if you see how the crowd, how the fans react to it, they love it. I think you should take advantage of that. Like, and it seems to have caused the opposing teams hell, court wise also. Like they seem to hate it, and if they hate it, that means it's working. All I heard was complaints from opposing announcers, opposing players. I think that they should do a rebrand. They had some jerseys in the past, like the Pelicans with the bold.
The Nola white jersey was sweet, man.
Yeah, like they have some jerseys that they went away from. I mean, I do think they need a rebrand. Like they should revamp. If you want to keep it a whole 1,000, they need to revamp the whole arena. The whole arena needs a fucking makeover. Like it's bottom barrel. It's so low tier. Like if you go to another team's arena and you sit on the floor at their shit.
Well, shit, Five's experience. I mean, are the two arenas in Memphis and Dallas that you visited this year way better than Smoothie King?
Yeah, without a doubt. Matter of fact, I'm actually doing something like I'm in class. And we're talking about like rebranding and organizations and how much they spend. Y'all know how much this dude has spent on just the arena and the entire rebrand? The Pelicans would never spend that amount of money.
You talking about Ballmer?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro. Like just the planning, the detailed planning that they're doing, like everything has a step. Like, nah, like it's not even close. It's like it won't even. When you think about it, when you build an arena, you almost have to think 15 years in advance than where you are now. Like the Pelicans, let's say New Orleans built this arena minimally. Like they didn't add anything extra to it because the team wasn't even here yet. They just needed an arena, then entice this team to, hey, we already have an arena for you. Like they didn't think that far ahead. So they're already behind. Now they're severely behind. I don't know if they'll even think about building a new arena to go along with the rebrand.
Do you think just renovations would be enough, Five?
Like you need a new arena. Like that.
No, I agree, but don't you love the location of the arena though? Like I love that. You don't love that's downtown.
No,
it's not really
because it's out of the way. It's not even downtown. Like you can't walk to it and get anywhere.
Like it needs to be around.
Okay, can I ask you like location? Where like I know I'm putting you on the spot. Like if you were to build somewhere else, hard spot. I mean, you would think maybe on the river, but you got to develop there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing really going on, man. I would thought that by like the Saleh and the Mardi Gras world, like there's a lot of space right there, but there's no businesses around there.
And that's the thing. If you were to build something, you would actually put businesses around it. Like
you could, but like where could you develop that? I mean,
hey, y'all go
right around.
Oh, can I tell my answer?
You about to say, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the East.
High five.
It's the East.
It's the East. Like it would be the East. One, the land is cheaper, and then you could revitalize the East because I think the city is just losing money by just having a depleted eastern part of your city, right? Like it would have to be in the East. You put it near the lake or some sort of that, right? Like if you can figure that out, maybe you bring a new life to it. But that's just my opinion.
Ross, there's
Hey.
one right here. How you doing, man? From Rachel, as always. Appreciate you pulling up here, Rachel. What is the highest seed? I think she wants is what she means. What is the highest seed the Pels can get?
Justin, don't speak for Rachel. She said what she said.
Okay. What is the highest scene the Pels can get?
The 5 is the highest they can get, right? Like, because I think you're 4 or 5 games back of the Clippers. I think are 4th, and then Denver. You're not catching the 4. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say the 5 because that's where we are now. We'll see.
They're 84% to reach the top 6. Is this an actual fact? They're 84. Andrew, is that like you're just bullshitting, or is this actually a fact? I'm actually interested in that. 84% seems a crazy high.
I mean, the highest they can. The answer to her question is 5.
Okay.
The lowest would be probably a more interesting conversation.
5. Are you scared, or we'll go Lito then 5. Lito, are you scared of any teams that? Who are teams that you were scared of right now that are behind the Pelicans?
Let me look because I don't even know. Hold up. I know.
I can give you the 5. I can give you the 5 behind us. Right. Phoenix is a half game behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento is a full game behind us. Dallas, I think, is a game and a half behind us. And then I think like Golden State might be 3.5. Golden State and the Lakers might both be like 3.5 games behind us or something like that.
Suns are getting crushed again.
So I can answer that question by saying I am scared of Dallas. I'm not scared of the Kings. I'm not scared of the Lakers. Suns. The thing is with them,
I know you're not scared of the Lakers. I'm sorry.
I'm not scared of them just because we could get in that, but like I think I'm not scared of Phoenix. But the thing is with Phoenix, I think playoff Phoenix is gonna be different. Like I think that's a whole different brand of basketball, and I am scared of that. I'm scared of they have 3 guys, right? And shout out to Desmond. Book is hurt right now, so they've been losing games. And this is probably like not. I'm still scared of Golden State. I'm still scared of them.
But those teams are behind us, right? So like it's I think when you start talking about teams that you should be afraid of, like I think the most important thing, obviously health is, but when it comes down to that first round series, and you heard Brett say it earlier, you got to avoid Denver in the first round. Like
got to
at all cost. Truly at all cost. Like I would almost rather play in that first play-in game against like whoever the 10 seed would be than play Denver.
No, you don't get the 10 seed. You get 7. It's 7 versus 8 than 9 versus 10, Ross.
Whatever it is. I would almost rather play in that game because I know the outcome of a first round series with Denver. I know what that outcome is. So I think you avoid that at all costs. Stay in the 5, the 7, do whatever you got to do. But
21 games left. What is the record the Pelicans need to have to stay in 5? I think that's probably the question that we really need to talk about because you have, to be honest, the schedule isn't terrible, right? You start with this East Coast trip where it's Raptors, Sixers, Hawks, no Scotty Barnes, no Joel Embiid, no Trae Young.
Did Maxey come back today? Maxey came back?
Yeah, Maxey played today.
Look like he's about to have 50 today.
Yeah. Then you go Cavs at home, Clippers at home, Blazers, Nets, Magic, Heat, Pistons, Oklahoma City, Bucks, Celtics, Suns, Magic, Spurs, Suns, Blazers, Kings, Warriors, Lakers. Like
those last 3 games are brutal.
Well, I think that's on purpose, but like what does this team need to do in this last 21 to come out with like what, let's say 48 to 50 wins? Because that, I think, I even talked about this, that could get you 6th.
What seed?
But I think you probably need 51 or 52 to solidify the 5th.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Jared, I said 14-7 to be in the top 6. They gotta go 14-7 to be in the top 6.
So I think
Someone said like 12 and 5.
That'd be 50 wins.
Yeah, like this ain't nope. You ain't getting top 6 with that. You ain't getting top 6 with that. This is borderline. You're definitely not getting top 6 with this. I think
somebody is gonna get hot. And I'm not saying that can't be the Pelicans, but like one of those 5 teams behind you is gonna get rolling and rattle off, go 16-6 in their last handful of games or something. I think you got to get the 50 wins.
Hey, you know what's crazy? The Pelicans haven't played their best basketball yet.
I thought they played really well against.
That's what's scary, huh?
But
I agree.
Like,
I don't think that's not scary.
Yeah.
That's not scary.
That's a double scary. This.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's going to happen. It might.
Yeah, that's disappointing to me.
Like you haven't seen it yet.
Of course, Lito.
Like, why don't I still know what the best version of you looks like? It's like, see, never mind. Yeah.
How many wins we gotta get, Lito? Never mind. One more thing's been replaced with never mind. What do you? How many wins do you think, Lito?
How many wins do
I get to top 6? We said 14-7.
I think that's for 51 is for 5th. So 15-6.
Oh, you think 51?
51.
Yeah.
It solidifies 5th.
15-6. Okay. Like, sorry, Lito, I'm gonna go ahead because I wanted to break down the schedule a little bit. 5 and like actually try to predict it because I think you could get to 14 the way I'm looking at it. Go ahead, Lito.
Well,
hey,
I don't know.
It's like seeing a girl who always got a filter on. You know what I'm saying? Like I really don't know what you look like. Like I think you cute, but I'm not sure because like I've never seen you without makeup. You got a filter on, like it's a Snapchat filter too.
But the picture's always popping though.
It's always popping. It looks nice.
Well, you saw her at the club on against the Bulls. But you saw that filtered picture against the Pacers.
But Ross, you know what happens? It's 3 a.m. and somebody got to come home with you. So
somebody gotta go.
It's what it is.
We're stuck. We're stuck with them.
All right, go for it.
Your dog's in the background. Your dog in the background is like just like tripping me out.
No, my dog. That's my wife's dog, Justin. I don't own that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Fend for himself back there.
Leo, did you say how many wins they need to get to the top 6?
They would need 50 wins.
Okay, they need 50 wins. We're all in agreement. Okay. Okay, 5. Let's break it down. We got 21 left. Let's go first 6. At Toronto, at Philly, at Atlanta, versus Cavs, versus Clippers, versus Portland. What's their record?
To be honest, let's go 3. They need to win these next 3 for me to have real faith. Like they have to get off to a good start.
Yes.
You got to beat the Cavs, you beat the Raptors, beat the Sixers, beat the Hawks. Okay. If you can win one of these 2, if you can beat the Cavaliers or you can beat the Clippers, say you're 4-1 in that range, and you gotta beat the Blazers and Nets.
So it's 5-1 right there. It's 5-1.
Yeah, and then Blazers Nets, you go 7-1. If you do that, I think your percentage is just, of course, increases, right? Like,
yeah. Wait. Yeah, hold up. So you said, I know you get to the Nets. You said they're 5-1 in this 6-game stretch because I'm about to get it to Lito here in a sec because they're 5-1. Okay, Lito, just say they're 5-1 now off of Jared's predictions. Then they go at Brooklyn, at Orlando, at Miami on a back-to-back, at Detroit, versus OKC, versus Milwaukee. That's a little bit of a tougher stretch. So they're 5-1 right now. What do you have them at with these next 6 games?
I'm about to pull an Everett Cooper. Hey, they're going 9-1.
Oh,
come on, man! Fuck it. What we doing? What's happening? It's me.
So you're saying they're gonna win? Wait, you said they're gonna win in You said they're gonna win in Miami?
It's fucking me.
That's going to be the game. That's going to be the game.
You're saying they're gonna win in Miami and Orlando?
No, I'm saying they're losing in Miami.
Wait, then they can't be 9-1. They're already 5-1. I need you to predict. They're 5-1 right now.
I'm sorry. I was going from the Raptors.
So no, go. They're 5-1. Jared has labeled them as 5-1 right now. Now we're going at Brooklyn, at Orlando, at Miami, at Detroit versus OKC versus Bucks.
4-5 in your last 9 games against the East.
Hold up, Ross. Hold up.
Piano Man strikes again.
I'm just giving you some backdrop. A lot of Eastern Conference games in here.
They going 4-1. Then they're losing against the Heat.
Okay, so they're 9-2.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're going to beat. So you're saying they beat Brooklyn, beat Orlando, lose to Miami, beat Detroit, then come home, beat the Thunder and the Bucks.
Book it.
Okay, they're 9-2, Ross. They're 9-2. You just said book it. You just said book it.
Versus God, brother.
Everett, what's up? You proud, Everett? What's up, dog?
Wait, hold on. Here we go. Versus Boston, versus Phoenix, versus Orlando, versus San Antonio, at Phoenix, at Portland. They're 9-2.
Are you asking me something? I don't even know where the fuck you're at in the schedule anymore. Like, you give me, you
Just,
gotta like,
dude. We're after Boston. It's versus Phoenix, April 1st. Next 6 games. Give me that prediction. Versus Phoenix versus Orlando, versus San Antonio, at Phoenix, at Portland.
Book it, Ross. Book it.
You'll lose one of the games against the Suns for sure.
Okay.
Those next 6.
Sorry, you have the Celtics. Yes. So Celtics, Phoenix, Orlando, San Antonio, Phoenix.
So I had
Portland.
the Celtics game as part of what you're asking here. Yeah. I don't think we can be. I think that's a bad matchup. Unless the Celtics are resting guys, I think we lose that game.
Okay. So in 1.
And then let's say, I think you're going to split those 2 games against the Suns. So you can say we win the first one.
Okay.
You'll beat the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
That Magic game is a tough one. I mean, in theory, you look at it on here and you say we should win that game, but I just don't know. I could see us losing that game.
Okay.
I really could.
3-3.
Did they lose to the Bucks in our prediction?
No. Lito said we're sweeping both OKC and Milwaukee at home. He said book it.
Yeah, so this is part of me is me making up for Lito's nonsense. Like, so I'm having to kind of work backwards to cover Lito's ass. So when people call us on this, they're like, yes, so I'm helping you right now.
I'm sorry. All right, my bad.
Give me 3-3 in that 6-game stretch.
3-3. All right, 5. They're 12-5 now.
I think they're 2-4 in that stretch. 12-5. And what we got? Blazers, Kings, Warriors, Lakers, right?
12-5, 17.
Yeah. At Blazers, at Kings, at Warriors, Lakers.
That's what we'll do. We'll go game by game. So at Portland, do they win or lose? 5.
That's a win. That's a win.
Okay.
Like, but that the Blazers will not let.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, game by game, the Blazers are not gonna let down because they'll probably be in the mood of like just fuck somebody's shit up, right? Scoop gonna remember, that they didn't make that trade.
Okay, Lito at Sacramento, nationally televised game, most likely going to be
the hose.
Most likely going to be.
Say it.
Come on, Justin. Come on.
Those. At Sacramento.
Book it. You're losing against the hoes.
Okay. 13-6. Ross at Golden State on a back-to-back.
Oh, that's a back-to-back for us?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's a loss. That's a loss because I think Golden State. The only way I'll say that we win that, I'm put it as a loss. All right, but the only way we could win that game is if Golden State's already kind of just locked into a play-in situation and they're kind of just like resting guys, which I think is a very realistic possibility. The flip of that is they could also be trying to play to get a 6 seed. So that's a big like question mark on that one.
Lito, you're such an asshole. For the hose. 13-7.
I hope that's the title of this episode.
Okay, so now everybody. Okay, we're 13-7. Everybody can answer this. So 5. We'll start with you. At home, 13-7. At home against the Los Angeles Lakers. 13-7. So we're at 49 wins. We're at 49 wins.
It's a midday game too. It's a midday game. 5 at 2:30.
2:30 game. You know it's gonna be on ABC too. Oh,
yeah, the hose is gonna be watching. It's gonna be a tough one, man. Man, Pel's gonna get a dub for the home crowd, and it's gonna be a raucous arena. Bron fans are gonna be in attendance. It's gonna be a lot of back and forth. Get the win for the hose. Shishi's going up that night.
What's happening?
So
what we doing? What we doing?
So Jared's got said 14-7. Lito, do they win that game in front of the hose?
I said they get a win, right, Justin? So that's
yeah, you said it win. So I say they're 14-7. They're 13-7 now in Lito's.
They playing here too.
Yeah.
Damn, man, the hole's gonna be in the city.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't. Nah, I can't give him that one. I can't give him that one.
13-8 for Lito. So they're 49 wins. You think that's bottom 6 or 7th? Ross.
Shout out to Zilla's. It's French Quarter Fest too. No.
Man.
No, that means the Strawberry Fest too.
Damn.
I was like strawberries.
Man.
What are you doing? What?
Hey, yo, y'all ever been on a 2-man mission?
Yeah.
And the friend,
yeah.
you bring your partner along, but the friend she not all that, and that motherfucker like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go.
I don't think this one's it, bro. I'm not sure. I don't know, man. Because those 3 games could all be nationally televised. 2:30, like you could.
This was crazy.
But hear me out. This would be like a monumental collapse. Like if you lose to the Kings, think about this. If you lose to the Kings, which you know, and then you're on a back-to-back in Golden State, that's a hell easily losable game, and then you could come home for a 2:30 Sunday nationally televised game against the Lakers. If you lose those 3 during the season, oh shit. Oh man. They played us. No, they played us with this game. Knew what they were doing.
That's got to be it. That's
the Magic Johnson.
I'm not back. That's got to be. We got to clip that. That's got to. This got to be. This also. This was something. Wait, hold on.
My bad.
Oh yeah. This one was crazy. Y'all want to talk about anything else?
Had to be a strawberry. You had to go to Strawberry Fest one year. I'm not lying to you.
Listen, as a Hammond native, you know, Tangipahoa Parish. Listen, they out there. Yeah.
By the way, launching tomorrow night, Jared got to sit down with Trey Murphy for an exclusive one-on-one. So shout out to you 5. Excited to see that. That'll be tomorrow night. What you got, Chris? Lito's killing me right now. 2 man 5 stars worth of shit.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, you gotta talk about it.
Hey, we could pot about it. Take it to court.
Sure. Take it. I gotta be a lawyer this time. I gotta be a lawyer.
Ross gotta be the judge.
When you know, bro. That second guy knows, man. Sometimes
you better bring your ass.
Like,
man, you said she look like. You said
sometimes that's a good friend. Sometimes that's a good friend.
Hey man. Nah.
Make sure y'all smash that like button. We'll see y'all. So Jared's interview dropping Monday night, and then we will be live after the game against Toronto on Tuesday. Smash that like button. Really appreciate everyone pulling up tonight and chopping it up with us. And also shout out to Brett Usher and Coach Shep. That was really fun. So we will see y'all on Tuesday.